Hey love, and welcome back to another video. I am Pauline. For those of you who are new here on this channel, we talk about locks and sprinkle in some other stuff in between. But mostly I focus on locks, helping people along their journeys, whether you are someone who just wears locks or you're a loctician just looking for support information. I am here for you. All right. And if you're a loctician, you need you're looking for classes. I do offer online classes. I do offer in-person classes as well. And I do coach people in helping them um, develop their business, structure their business, and so forth. All right. So if you need that support, I just want to let you know I'm your girl. All right. So I am in the comments again. I have another comment that I wanted to, well, this person specifically asked me to address. So I'm in the comments. All right. So in the comments, this video from Camera. All right, Camera. Okay. I got a brother, y'all. I got a brother in the comments. All right. So it says, I have a request. Pauline. Was wondering if you could make a video on lock count. Lock count. And it says, I just did a lock count. I have Sisterlocs, but they're brother locks because I'm a male. They're installed the same way, Sisterlocs, by my Sisterlocs loctician. But I guess it's parted by every 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. Does the inches of its being parted dictate the lock count? Or what all dictates how many locks you have? I counted and I only have 261. I usually see 300 to 400 locks. And it's saddening that I don't have as many as the girls do. Okay. This is a loaded question, y'all. This is a loaded question. So I don't count people's locks when I install, but I am strategic about how I install. So therefore, I know how many locks roughly my clients will end up with. And with Sisterlocs, I can't say too much about, all that stuff because I don't want nobody coming after me. You giving up disclosed information or whatever. So here's the thing. When it comes to Sisterlocs, you ask, first of all, when you think of Sisterlocs, there's not a specific, oh, you need to have this number of locks. However, you do need to have a high number of locks for your locks to be considered Sisterlocs. But there's so much that goes into how many locks you end up with at the end or in the end. So let me try to just break this down step by step based on the question. Okay. You said, okay, so you asked for a video on lock count. So let me just give the basic stuff. When it comes to how many locks you ultimately will end up with, it is some of the factors that is going to affect the number of locks that you end up with is the density of your hair. Density is pretty much how much hair you have on your head per square inch, right? The number of strands on your head. Also, the texture of your hair. The texture is referred to the thickness of the strand of the hair, the diameter, how thick it is. That is going to affect it. So those two main things will kind of determine how many locks you end up with. Now, there are other factors like if you have no hairline, if you don't have any edges, you will have less locks. If you don't have hair in the back, if you don't have hair in the middle, you will have less locks. Ooh, child. Let me drink some water because okay. Let me see if my mic's still on. Okay, mic's still on. The reason why the density and texture matter is because if you have low density, we have to consider the longevity of your locks in the long run. So the lower your density is, the bigger we have to do your parts so you can have healthy locks in the long run. So because of that, if you have real fine hair, we're going to have to create bigger parts. So with bigger parts, that means you're going to have less locks on your head. If you have real high density hair, you're going to have a lot of locks on your head. You ain't got to worry about no lock count unless somebody did big parts on your head just because you're not getting sick. If you have high density hair and you get Sisterlocs and you have all your edges and all of that, you should have about over 350 to 400 locks or more. If you have high density, all your edges intact, your crown intact, the base of your neck intact, if all of that is intact, you should have on average 400 locks if they are following the Sisterlocs size requirement, because they do have size requirements. There's 3 different sizes, and with those 3 different sizes, you if you have high density head and you have a big head. Now, if you have a really small head and you have high density, you might be on the lower end of 400, or you might be a little bit under 400. But even then, with high density and you got a small head, I would do a 1/4 of an inch part so you can have the volume, right? So you should still have close to that 400 if you have a small puny head. If you got a big head, baby, expect to have more than 400 locks if you have high density hair and you are getting Sisterlocs. Now, here's the thing. Sisterlocs came out with an extra large. Now, I don't know what parting size that extra large is because I haven't taken the class or did all that stuff that, I haven't done that. But they have come out with an extra large. But if they came out with an extra large, it has to be more than the part size has to be bigger than 3/8 of an inch. So if it is bigger than 3/8 of an inch, then that size is going to put you in the 300s, maybe high 200s category. If the person is doing an extra large Sisterlock size, size on your head, right? Because after 3/8 of an inch, now you're getting close to the 1/2 inch or bigger. So yeah. With that said, I hope that I hope that clears some of that stuff up. Okay, now let me go back. Now, then he said, I have Sisterlocs, but they're brother locks because I'm a male. They're installed the same way as Sisterlocs, but I'm guessing it's parted by every 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. If your hair is parted 1/8 of an inch, quarter of an inch, you're going to have over 400 locks if you have high density hair. If you have low density hair, I wouldn't dare put 1/8 inch on somebody with low density. And if you have really low density, 1/4 of an inch is even risky. But if even with low density hair, if they put 1/4 of an inch part size on your head, you're going to have about 400 locks or high 300 locks, even with low density hair. And they're doing 1/4 of an inch because 1/4 of an inch is so small. So, and I'm talking about parts. I'm not talking about the strand of the lock, because the strand of the lock is different from the size of the strand is different from the size of the part. Okay, we're talking about the parts. If you have 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch part size, you're going to have over 400 locks with high density and probably just about 400 locks with low density. And if you have low density and a small head, maybe just at that high 300 with that part size. So I don't think you have that part size. And keep in mind, males' hair is always, for the most part, thick. Okay, their hair is usually thicker than ours, coarser than ours. So I doubt you have fine, low density hair, especially based on your picture. You look like. Let me see if I can expand that. Ooh. Yeah, you look like you got a lot of hair on your head based on your picture, or based on the picture that's there. I don't know. It could be your son. It could be somebody else's picture. But based on this picture, you got a lot of hair. And if you got And I don't know if that's locks on your picture. I can't really see it that because I'm trying to zoom in. But with that hair on your head, with a quarter of an inch or 1/8 of an inch part size, you should have well over 400 locks. Now, you said you count and you have 261 locks. From my clients that I've done in the past who wanted bigger locks, like Microlocs or closer to traditional locks, and they're not getting Sisterlocs, those who have had 250, 275 in the high, mid to high twos, their part size have been anywhere from 1/2 inch to, half inch to 7/8 of an inch, not 7/8. This was after part size. When I do those sizes, that's the number count. That's the lock count that they're going to end up with. And some 1/2 inch, depending on one's head size, they can have like 300. But if you're doing 1/2 inch part size or bigger or slightly bigger, you're going to be in that 200 something locks. Like my sister, we took down her Sisterlocs to start with Microlocs, and we did 1/2 inch part size, and she ended up with like 200 and some locks. So there's no way for you to have 200 and some locks with quarter of an inch part size. Okay. And you said, does the inch of it being parted dictate the lock count? Yeah. So I know the number of rows I'm putting on the head, based on the number of rows I'm putting on the head, based on the part size I'm doing for the client, that tells me how many locks my client is going to get. So if somebody comes to me and say, I want 400 locks, I know I cannot just put 10 rows per side on their head, because it's not going to yield the number that they want. So yes, the number of rows, the way you part your rows, the number of rows and the part size will dictate how many locks you have. And if you tell me how many rows you want, you tell me the part size you want, I can tell you roughly how many locks you would end up with based on the number of rows and the size of the locks, part size that you want. So at this, I do think that based on this information, like I said, things might have changed with Sisterlocs, because they did come out with an extra large size, but at the same time, if you wanted that 1/8 or a quarter of an inch part size, you should have had more. You should have more locks than what you currently do. Unless, are your sides shaved, the back shaved? Do you just have hair on the top? That's something, if you're just working with that, or you're working with a mohawk, that is something to consider. But if you're working with a full head of hair and you wanted 1/8 to a quarter of an inch part size and you only ended up with 261 locks, then yeah, you do not have the part size that you think you do. So I would, I don't know what the consultation was like. I don't know, is this person truly a loctician? Were Or because some people will just say, I know how to do Sisterlocs, but they might not be a loctician. So that's something to consider. No, I'm sorry, not that they might not be a loctician, they might not actually be a loctician, because so that's just something to consider. So yeah, what was the consultation like? Did y'all discuss expectations during the consultation? Did she know you wanted it to be full and plentiful, like like the girls do, have their locks? Like, I'm curious to how that went, because if she knew you wanted your hair flowing and you wanted locks, like those numbers and stuff, like the girls, I would go back and have a conversation, because to me, what it sounds like, maybe some miscommunication. I don't know. I just like to give people the benefit of the doubt. Okay. Because there's two sides to the story. I don't know if expectations were laid out and there's misunderstanding, unclear. I don't know. At the end of the day, I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But here's the thing. If you have 261 locks, I'm sure your locks look good. And I wouldn't be too concerned with the lock count if the hair looks good. Um, do you love it? Does it look good to you? Because the lock count won't affect your journey unless you really wanted them 400 locks. And when you look at the size of your locks, do you really want 400 locks? Do you really want the 300 locks? And you're not too far from 300. So I would just have a conversation. If the number is really important to you, then see if y'all can split some. See, I don't know. I'm just giving some suggestions. But if it looks good, and you feel good about your hair, I say do not let the lock count impact how you go on your journey, because it's a beautiful journey. And I don't want you so focused on the lock count that you miss out on the excitement of your new set of locks, and that you miss out on the freedom that you get from your new set of locks. So I would just really encourage you to, you know, take some time, look at your locks, and uh, try to enjoy them, because I'm sure they're beautiful. I'm sure they look good. But if it really bothers you, have a discussion. I don't know what you were charged, but see if you guys can work something out. But communicating will be the best thing at this point. That would be my advice, but based on, just numbers, based on the numbers you give me as far as the parts and stuff and the lock count, that is not the amount you would get for Sisterlocs. Have a discussion, and whatever agreement you guys come to, do not be disappointed about your journey. It's going to be a beautiful journey. Your locks will turn out beautifully. And yeah, so just enjoy it. So I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you have any additional questions. You can drop them in a comment, and I'll be happy to do another video. Okay. So for everyone else who's watching, I hope this helps. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Help your girl out, get some followers, um, and buy my Wisdom Gifts book. Support me in that way. And yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. Thank you so much for watching. See you guys next time.